This is James Woosley, author of Conquer the Entrepreneur's Kryptonite. Today I want to go through a tutorial of the Simple Strategic Plan project tool. This is a tool I created in Microsoft Excel for myself. Now I'm sharing it with you. Basically what the tool does is it takes and consolidates all of your projects, goals, and tasks from your Simple Strategic Plan, from that 90-day cycle, and boils it down into a weekly task list. What are you supposed to be doing each week? Helps you manage your schedule, manage your tasks, and get more done. Okay, so let's jump right into the project tool. And it opens up and we see the Start tab. And down here at the bottom you'll see a list of tabs. Now there may be some differences between Windows Excel versus Mac Excel. I'm on a Mac right now. It's just easier to do the recordings on the Mac. But you'll be able to see exactly what you need to see, and it will be very, very similar between the two. There is also different versions of Excel out there, and so you might see some minor differences, but for the most part this should guide you through the use of the tool, and as you start to use it you'll get a feel for how it works, and you won't ever have to refer back to this again. So it's designed to be pretty simple to use. So the Start tab starts everything off. It lists what the different tabs are and how they're used. It lists the projects, the first day of the planning cycle, and the daily tasks. All of these things feed to the other tabs and to all the calculations that are done to make the automation magic happen. So we start here at the top with the different spreadsheet tabs, and it simply describes what each tab does. So this is the Start tab. We're going through the instructions and the initial inputs. The weekly manual, no automation on that one. It's simply a weekly printable schedule that you can also put your project taskings in. The weekly auto is your weekly schedule, but it automatically builds your project taskings based on the project tabs. The weekly two-pager prints your schedule without the project taskings. This just gives you more room for your schedule. So it's both sides of the piece of paper, the left side and the right side, which we then fold over into a half-page one sheet. The project two-page is the companion to the weekly two-page, and that's just your project tasks. The monthly to-do is a printable monthly to-do list, and P1 through P5 are the different project tabs, one tab for each project. You simply go in there and do the initial load of your projects and then update it each week before you print your weekly schedule. Your projects are named here on the Start tab. So you've got room for 5 projects in this version. There is a 10 project version out there as well, but I recommend 2 to 4 projects as you start through the process and start using the tool. You'll just get a better feel for it if there's fewer things to worry about in the initial phase. So project 1, project 2, project 3, and you simply type the name of those projects. So let's say I want to write a book. So write my book. Type that in, and that is the name of project 1. I can do the same for project 2, project 3. I won't do that right now. The first day of the planning cycle. This is a very important date because this is where time begins for the purposes of your schedule. So you've got to define what is the first day of week 1 of my planning cycle. And that's all that this is. In this case, it's a Monday, September 30th, 2013, which was the first day of the fourth quarter of 2013. It can be a Sunday, it can be a Monday, it's whatever day you want to use to define what week 1 is. So first day of week 1. Below that are the daily tasks, and here's a list of 6 daily tasks, which to me are just used as reminders to help build habits or reinforce habits. And so there's 6 listed. If you use the project or the weekly auto, you'll only get 3 of those. If you use the weekly 2-page, you'll get all 6. So you can just put those in there as little reminders for what you want to do. So let's take a look at what these look like. The weekly manual. This is simply a list of your project activity, your weekly activities and your project activities. So the left side is for your weekly schedule, and you just type in your life purpose statement, your mission statement, something as a reminder for your week ahead that it keeps you on track. So whatever it is that's going to keep you on track. It could be a quote, could be a reminder, it could be anything at all. You put in your date. So if today's date was, let's say it's the week before Christmas, so that was December 23rd, 2013. Put that in. That was the Monday before Christmas. And now all of the other dates are going to update as needed. The next to that is just a note field, and you can use that for anything you want. I use it for travel because I travel a lot, so it's the location of where I'm going to be. You could also use it for anniversaries, birthdays, holidays, etc. And so we can see that here, and we'll just type in Christmas. So Christmas, December 25th, 2013. Very simple. Below each of the days there are 6 positions listed for 6 different appointments or meetings or things to put on your schedule. And so you just put in the time, put in the activity, and there you go, and it just loads that in. You've got 6 places. Next to that is a small box that when you print it out, you can just hit the checkbox and you're good to go. To the left of that is a list of 5 activities, 5 reminders, 5 habits that you want to build out. And again, these are similar to the ones we talked about on the Start tab, but they're not updated automatically, so you would have to manually type those in. You build out your entire schedule for the week, and then at the bottom there are weekly reminders, so different things that you want to do on a weekly basis versus a daily basis. And then on the right side is your projects, your goals, and your action steps, or your tasks. So you simply go in and look at your simple strategic plan and figure out what is going on for this week and put those things in here. The disadvantage here is that it is not automated. It's completely manual. It's going to take a lot of time to figure out what's happening each week and put those in. So I really don't recommend this, but for some people they may prefer this method, and it's up to you. So where the magic happens is on the weekly auto. When we look at the weekly auto, it's very, very similar to the weekly manual. We get our mission statement or life purpose at the top. We get the date that we can update. We get our appointment times, our notes field. We get our daily tasks, and those are the 3 that we put in on the Start tab. Those come over automatically, and you just got a little checkbox there, and you can just track and build new habits that way. Put in all of your activities for the week. You've got your weekly reminders down here, which those again are editable. And then on the right side, that's where it happens. Your project number comes over, the goal for each project, and the task for each project with a start and finish date. Those are the things that are happening this week. That's really cool, but it's cool. Here it's all generic. So let's take and make some real updates. We changed project 1, and what did we change it to? We wanted to write my book. So the name of the project comes over automatically from the Start tab. It calculates today's date as well as the week number. Remember, we set the first day of this quarter or this cycle as September 30th. Well, that was day 1 of week 1. We're now at this, December 27th, and it is week 13. It's automatically calculating that. You cannot change it. It's locked down. We list our goals for this project. So we have our goals, and so we need to define what are our goals. And here's just goal 1 and goal 2. Let's actually make them some goals. So we can say, we need to design the book. And these won't be really good projects and goals and all that stuff according to the rules of the book, but hey, we're going to write the book, right? The actual writing portion. And so we've got that. And now we go down to here and we see in this blue bar, goal A has automatically come down from above, design the book. And so we can say, we need to say design the cover. We can design the interior and design the back cover. So now we've got our design elements done. There might be more, and there's better ways of defining all these things out. It's just to show some examples. We've got a project notes section up here that you can type or write in once you print it, and you can build out all of your goals. So here we see goal 2 is write the book. If you have more goals, you can type them in. If you don't have those goals, you just leave them blank. It's very, very simple. Now as we look at this, we say design the cover. It started on 10/28/13. And it's supposed to end on 10/24/13. That was this Monday. It is behind, so it shows up in red because today's date is the 27th. If this was Monday morning when I typically do my updates, that would show up as white, and it would be fine. But let's say design the cover. Oh, we finished that on Monday, so that is now 100% complete. We update the 100%, and it turns green, which is exactly what we want. That's a good sign. It's a good thing to see that green. Design the interior. That one's behind. So let's say that's going to take us to the end of the year, 12/31/13. Type that in, and now it's going to get rid of that red because it's no longer behind. Say we did 50% on that, but we also need to talk to George, our layout guy, and he's going to help us out. So we load that in our resources column. Then resources could be people or things that we need to help us accomplish that task. When we see that the start date is being used here, 12/22, to calculate the start week, happens in week 12. 12/31 happens in week 14. And we're currently in week 13. That means this is an active task, and it gets that X in the active status column. If we made a typo and said 12/31/12, the year before, we're going to get a warning because that date, that finish date, is before the start date. We can't really have things out of order chronologically. So we've got to fix that, and I'll just undo that. But we see finish date before start date populates there in the active status field. The other thing that can happen sometimes is maybe you just, you aren't thinking and you type the wrong thing and get some text in there, 12/X. That's an invalid date, and it's going to tell us that that's an invalid date here in the active status column. So just undo that and fix that. When I look at this on a Monday morning and I update all my projects, this is one of the first places I go to. I just go to each project tab and go in and review and say, what did I finish? Mark that as 100%. What did I make progress on? And I'll give it 25, 50, or 75% depending on how far along it is. That's not as critical as the 100% part. I'll then make updates and I'll look for those reds. Where am I behind? Well, I've got to work on that still. It's still important. So I'll adjust my dates appropriately, and then it will change to an active status. If it was the past, so let's say it's 12/12/13, it's still going to be red because it's still behind. But it's no longer in an active status. It's not 100% complete, so I still need to do it, but it's not active, so it's not going to show up in my other page. I want it to show up, so I'm going to give it a date that is valid. And so we'll just say 12/27, which is today's date, and that then goes to an active status of X. Now here's where it really gets neat. We've put in our project name, we've put in our goals, we've put in our tasks. When we go back over here to the weekly auto, we start to see that magic is starting to come through. We see our goals for design the book, and we've got design the interior, design the back cover. Those are exactly what we put in. We see our start and finish dates that we put in. The design the cover is not here because it was 100% complete. We also see the second goal there, write the book, come in. We didn't update those tasks yet. This is where it's all happening. We build out our project one time, we simply update it after that, and then we know exactly what we're supposed to be working on each week. Very, very cool stuff. On the weekly 2-page, it's very, very similar here to the other one. It's just a 2-page schedule, so you've got more room. You've got room for 12 appointments or meetings, and you've got room for all 6 of those daily tasks. You've also got a notes field at the bottom. And I just print this out, fold it over, and that's my schedule for the week. The project 2-page, we start to see, again, the automation come through. Write My Book comes through as the first project, and then we see our goals and our action steps come through. We divide this in half after we print it out, and we're done. It's there. It's good to go. Very, very handy. And I simply print out both of these pages, fold them over, put them in my little notebook, and I'm good to go for the week. I've got everything that I need to be working on and need to be doing. The monthly to-do is simply that. It's a monthly to-do list. I update the month and year, and that will calculate it and go across for both sides. And then I've got just major categories of life, and you can change those categories to whatever you want. And then I just list out the things. And these are the things that just pop into my head as I'm going through my work week. Stuff that may or may not be related to a project or an activity, but stuff I need to capture just for life purposes. And this keeps me from having a billion post-it notes all over the place. I've got one page with all of my to-dos for the month beyond my project activities, and then I can just check them off as I go. So I've got room there for a checkbox, for the task, and for the date when I think it needs to be accomplished by. We saw project 1, which is on tab P1, and then project 2 is on P2, and project 3 is on P3, and so forth. If those are not being used, you just leave them blank, and they will not populate and they will not print. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it helps you accomplish more than you ever have before. If you'd like to know more about the process and the simple strategic plan, you can order Conquer the Entrepreneur's Kryptonite at Amazon, Audible, or iTunes. If you'd like bulk copies or autographed copies, or for more tools and resources, just visit conqueryourkryptonite.com.